What is good, everybody? Welcome to an instant reaction podcast here on the Gold Standard 49ers Podcast Network. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Finally, we have an end to the Brandon Aiyuk hold it. There is no Brandon Aiyuk hold out. There is no Brandon Aiyuk trade. There is only Brandon Aiyuk staying with the San Francisco 49ers for the next 4 years. As Adam Schefter and others reported, the Niners and Aiyuk reached an agreement on a 4-year extension that will contractually tie him to San Francisco for the next 5 years. The drama is over, and a deal, not a trade, is in place. Ian Rappaport says it's 4 years, $120 million with $76 million guaranteed. Woo, baby. Aiyuk's agent, Ryan Williams, apparently tweeted out a picture of BA, which I'll try to pull up for you here in a second. It is a good day. It's a good day for everybody. It's a good day for us. It's a good day for the 49ers. It's just a damn good day because we can now do a show that isn't focused on what's going to happen. Why isn't a deal done? What's Jed York doing? What are the 49ers doing? There it is. If you're watching on the stream, Ryan Williams, his agent, just tweeted a picture of Aiyuk smiling, and it says, "We worked hard for that smile at Brandon Aiyuk." And there it is. He looks like a happy man. As we said, this was the outcome that every side wanted, right? The 49ers wanted to keep Brandon Aiyuk, and Brandon Aiyuk wanted to stay in San Francisco. Because if he didn't want to stay in San Francisco, he would have taken one of the trades, right? He would have taken a trade to the Browns. He would have taken a trade to the Steelers. He would have taken a trade to the Patriots, but he didn't. So clearly he wanted to be here. And it's just nice to be in a place where this is done now, right? Let's do it together. Let's deep breath and then back out again. Like, yes, finally. Now, the 49ers only have to work on getting their other all-pro back into the situation, but we'll get to that, right? We'll get to that. This is a time for celebration. It is a time to just enjoy the good, right? How much bad have we had as a fan base? How much bad vibes have we talked about with the 49ers? About how it was just a down camp and all of that stuff. It didn't have the juice, and Brock Purdy, how's he going to look? And we don't have to deal with that now. We don't have to deal with that now. And I think we should just take a minute before we focus on the next thing, which we will get to. Let's just relax and just enjoy this. Today is a good day, and we have earned this day as 49ers fans. Let me just throw this topic bar up here. 4King Crazy says, praise the Lord. He better play lights out now. YouTube channel member. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. The general consensus in the chat is good, as you might imagine. LFG, a lot of LFG, a lot of fire. And Adrian, brings up a good point on X. Brock smiling. Yeah, he should be smiling. The whole offense should be smiling. You know, this is something that Vish Kumaran talks about a lot. And that is how everybody on the 49ers benefits from everybody else on the 49ers. It's not just Brock benefiting from Debo and Kittle and CMC. That's true. But Kittle benefits from Debo and Aiyuk and CMC. And Debo benefits from Aiyuk and Kittle and Brock. Like, it all works together. And they all benefit from Trent Williams, of course, too. So it's not just one guy benefiting. It's all of them. And all of them are better off together. And the 49ers are better off together. And that sound you hear is the rest of the NFC who just said, oh, shit. Because guess what? All the talk about the cracks in the foundation of the 49ers and people I saw today picking the Seahawks to win the NFC West. Whoa, let's slow down a minute there. Let's slow down a minute. Calm down. And I tweeted a couple hours ago, if I were Kyle Shanahan, I would be collecting those stories about everybody, all the cracks in the 49er foundation, and a certain podcaster who said he was taking the Jets in week 1. Who was that, by the way? I can't remember who that was. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I would collect all that stuff, and I would go to the tried and true motivation method. They don't think we can do it, right? Us against the world. Nobody believes in us. Everybody's doubting us. I would do it. I would absolutely do it if I was Kyle Shanahan. Benjamin Bayer, new YouTube channel member, says it's finally happening. LFG. Andre Garibay says stats double your bet. Yes, I did take the Jets in week 1. That was me, in case you're wondering. JVC says it ain't over till Trent is on the field. I get that. But let's just, again, this is a good day. Let's just enjoy this day because we've been waiting a long time for it. I did 2 shows. I did a show last night. I did a show today, and it was all about that. And so let's just enjoy the good. We don't know what's going to come later this season. Let's just enjoy the good. 4 years, $120 million. I want to know the ins and outs of the deal because I want to know if it's 4 years, 120, you're like, all right, well, that's $30 million. Doesn't seem that difficult to get to. What took so long? Right? Like we all kind of knew the market, but we want to know the ins and outs of the deal, the devil's in the details, as they say. Kaylee Miller, shout out to you, YouTube channel member, says, so relieved we can finally talk about something else. Yeah, I said this to, I forget who it was, but it was like, in one sense, it was like, okay, now we're as good as last year. Like, which is fine because they were a really good team last year. Obviously, made the Super Bowl, went to the end of overtime in the Super Bowl. So they don't need to get that much better. But it was like the fact that it was kind of a struggle just to get back to what they had was disconcerting at the time. But that struggle is over now. D. Pino Jr., 84 on Twitch. Shout out to the Twitch fam. Says, thank you. It's about time. 1 down, 1 more to go. As Yaz Williams points out, 76 million guaranteed. Yeah, I'm sure the devil was in the guaranteed details. Rich Alexander says Aiyuk is overpaid. I don't care, and neither should you. And by the way, I don't think he is. For the record, I think his deal is right in line with receivers around the league who produce at his level. But it ain't my money. It ain't my money. All right. And you know what else? It ain't my job to worry about the salary cap either. That's somebody else's job. So I'm going to be happy today. I'm not going to be sitting here, doing calculations and trying to figure out like, oh, does it fit under the cap? Or what about the cap? What about 3 years from now? What's his cap hit going to be? I could give a rat's ass. I care about is 11 going to be out there on the field against the Jets. And guess what? He is. And we're going to have a whole other day about this. It's going to be, I'm sure he's going to have a press conference and we're going to talk about all of that stuff. Why did you say this? What did you do this? How close were you to a trade? All that stuff. We'll get another day out of this and then it'll just be gone. And then it will just be preparing for the Jets in 10 days. Imagine that, right? We could start to turn the focus to the stuff on the field. That'll be a good day too. 8089er YouTube channel member says, this is just stupid. It took so long to get here, and this could have been done a month ago if they had just offered him this deal before camp started. It makes no sense. That's why I say we got to see the details, because we don't know for sure. We don't know what changed, right? That suddenly this deal gets done now. Let's say Ian Rappaport says Aiyuk will receive $47 million between now and April 1st, 2025. That is massive. Yeah, that is incredible. In the end, Schefter. Okay, so this is interesting. Schefter just tweeted something out. Let's see if I can pull it up on the stream for the people watching. Sorry. In the end, Schefter said Aiyuk accepted the same deal that's been on the table since August 10th, per league sources. His hold-in did not alter any part of his new 4-year, $120 million extension. He took the same deal that had been there for the past 3 weeks, holding over. See, I don't like that part of it because that's the 49ers line, okay? That is the 49ers trying to spin this as we won, right? That is, I don't know if I love that that's out there this quickly after the deal is signed. Now, look, maybe Aiyuk could care less because he's got his money, so whatever. But I don't know. I wouldn't just take that as gospel from Schefter. Let's see the details and let's learn a little bit more about this. But that's the 49ers trying to control the narrative right there, which just goes to show you that there's still, it's not all kumbaya out there, right? It's just show there's a little frustration. Heineman on Twitch says, there goes Jets Wi-Fi and LEDs. Yeah, the Niners are committing $200 million to upgrades to Levi's Stadium that included Wi-Fi and LED field lighting. And look, maybe Schefter's right. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is true that he just accepted the same deal and that the 49ers didn't budge at all and all this stuff. I don't know. Don't forget, look what Schefter said. He took the deal that was on the table since August 10th, right? Well, before that, the Niners hadn't offered anything to him since May. So his hold-in and his situation and not showing up did change things because he did get a new contract offer, which I assume was higher than the one he got in May. So let's not act like this is a massive win for the 49ers. It was a massive distraction. It was a massive drag on the team. So let's not act like the 49ers are some champions here, like some masters of negotiation. Like, forget all that. Don't even concern yourself with all of that. You win. I said this many times. You win by getting the deal done. That's how you win. And the 49ers ultimately did win. And the silver lining in all of this is that because Aiyuk wasn't there, in part, Jacob Cowing got to see the field more, right? And we got to see like, oh man, hey, maybe we got a thing in Jacob Cowing, right? And look, we don't know what Jennings' situation is. He's got the oblique. He might be hurt. We could be sitting at a situation week 1 where it's Debo, Aiyuk, and Jacob Cowing at wide receiver 3. We don't know what Pearsall is going to be either. His shoulder might be messed up. So that's kind of the silver lining in all of this. And that's good for the 49ers, frankly. Sorry, I'm just typing a tweet to get people to join us. Hashtag 49ers. There we go. So yeah, excuse me. That's the silver lining in all of this whole thing. So it kind of worked out good for everybody. Now, we still have to wait and see what kind of shape is Brandon Aiyuk in? How fast can he get there? And of course, as we all know, not only how fast can he get there, but also how fast can he play at the level that we're, used to seeing, right? It's not just getting back on the field. It's not returning to play. It's returning to performance, as Stephania Bell once said. $76 million guaranteed in his 4-year front-loaded deal. Interesting. Multiple people have referred to it as front-loaded. I wonder if it's the kind of thing where like, hey, we'll sign you to this 4-year front-loaded deal, but really it's kind of like a 1 or 2 year deal, and then maybe we'll trade you or we'll release you and we'll do that. Like, I want to see the details. The devil is in the details. Mike Florio does really good contract breakdowns, so he may have the details. And if anybody sees anything in the chat that's compelling or interesting or detail-ish, let me know. Hit me up. Obviously, I'm trying to check Twitter here, but I'm also trying to host the show. Grant Shepard says, ready for a down year following a holdout. That could happen, right? It happened with Bosa. It happened with Debo. Doesn't mean it's destined to happen with Brandon Aiyuk. It very well could, right? You would think if it happened to Bosa, it could happen to anybody, but it might not. Everybody is different. And maybe Brandon Aiyuk was in shape. We don't know. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on. 100%. Definitely something to keep your eye on. And we'll find out pretty quick. I wish, unfortunately, we had one more game to find out before the Jets game, but Nick Wagner tweeted, we'll have more soon. I should put this on the stage. We'll have more soon, but the big thing to me is that the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk both knew they are better together. Keeping Aiyuk is as much about trying to win a Super Bowl this year as establishing him as a foundational player for years to come. The Niners have an aging nucleus. Aiyuk is a significant part of the transition to the next one. And that is true. That is a great point by Nick that we've talked about. We all know the core of this team could very well be the last run, right? This is probably the last year with Aiyuk and Kittle and Debo and CMC and Trent and Greenlaw and Hufanga, right? Like, this is the last year for those guys. Just like it was the last year for Eric Armstead. Just like it could have been the last year for Kyle Juszczyk, right? Like, that transition has already begun to take place. So you need to identify and lock up the pieces that are going to be part of your next core, right? Brandon Aiyuk wasn't there in 2019. He can be part of the next core. Brock Purdy, it looks like, at least from the 49ers perspective, is going to be part of that next core. Brandon Aiyuk is going to be part of that next core. Now, assuming he actually plays out and finishes the 4-year deal. Nick Bosa is going to be part of that next core. Who else is going to be? George Kittle is not going to be. That's why they drafted 2 tight ends a year ago. They were looking, right? They were trying to identify that. We don't know. We got to find out. Dominic Pooney certainly looks like he'll be part of that next core. They're going to need to keep adding. But the fact that they've identified Aiyuk, they have Aiyuk in the fold, they have someone who not only helps the offense function now and helps it go now in a very significant way, but also I think they think, and certainly Brandon Aiyuk thinks, he can be the focal point going forward. He can be the one going forward that can get the 100, 105, 110 targets going forward so that he can sort of lead that next young nucleus of players. And look at this. We got a very special guest. Mr. Levin Black is here. Levin, what's up? I didn't even text you or anything. You just
you don't call, you don't write anymore. Yeah, I happened to log in, and the first tweet I saw on Twitter was used live now talking Brandon Aiyuk's extension, and I scrolled down and saw Rappaport's tweet, and it was like, all right, I'm going downstairs.
So I
got to do this.
Yes. Yes. Gone forever, baby. Oh, that felt good, didn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. He is signing the exact contract that I actually tweeted out. I broke it down like 3 days ago, and I think there was others that, like, if you go based off like market averages and give a slight team discount based on the contracts that have been given out this offseason, it was 4 years, 120 million with 76 million guaranteed.
How does it compare to what we predicted like a month and a half ago?
Way off. It wasn't a month and a half ago, for one. It was 4 months ago before the market reset.
Okay.
Because I still have that saved or pinned on my profile, what my prediction was, because I posted it, and then we went live after I posted that, and I just went with what I had posted, breaking it down based on what the market rate was then, but it was before the reset. So I predicted 25.5 million per year.
Tebow posted on his Instagram a picture of he and Aiyuk with Ayuk's son, or maybe it's Debo's son. I don't know. I'm not sure whose it is, but it says, "Congrats, brother," and he adds Brandon Aiyuk with the $, smiley face, and a bag of money.
Nice.
I was saying this earlier, Levin. Did you see the Adam Schefter tweet? I really did not like this part of it. Adam Schefter tweeted, "In the end, Aiyuk accepted the same deal that has been on the table since August 10th. His hold-in did not alter any part of his 4-year extension. He took the same deal that had been there for the past 3 weeks." That's the 49ers spin out there, right? That's their like, look, we stood tough and blah, blah, blah. I don't like that that's out there immediately after the signing. This should be just a celebration, just good news. I don't like that they put this out there. And to me, it tells me that there's still some hurt feelings there.
I get what you're saying, but Schefter, if he knows that, then he absolutely has to report it to do his job. I get that you're saying that the Niners told him that, and why would you do that? But I do have to say, like, if that's true, Aiyuk should have signed this on the 10th. So shame on him for wasting 3 weeks of time with the team.
See? And that's exactly what the 49ers want you to think and say.
Well, I mean, he definitely won overall. If you say who won between these two, he did. He got, what, 4 more million than what he had 3 months ago, than what the haven't talked to him since May offer was reported at 26 million. Like, this is the deal that 3 months ago we were saying, based on what's happened, he should be getting 30 million a year. We've been saying that since Amon-Ra St. Brown signed his deal. So he absolutely won. So anybody saying anything other than the hold-in worked is just spinning BS. But if this is an offer that was on the table on August 10th, I don't blame the Niners for getting frustrated, last week and stuff, because this should have been signed when it was offered.
Well, Michelle texted me and was like, why wasn't this deal done months ago? And that's what we had been saying, right? It's not hard to find the number and the market because
they always pay in the end. Why do you have to have these holdouts? Why do you have to do this? Like, this is an offer that if you offered before training camp, he probably would have taken. Now, if he wasn't willing to take this before training camp, again, that's shame on Aiyuk for that part of it. But in the end, the Niners end up paying exactly what is predicted they pay. The Bosa deal wasn't a team discount, and it also wasn't a shock at what he signed for. It was what was expected. So just get the deals done.
Akash tweeted out Amon-Ra St. Brown got 4 years, 120 million with 77 million in total guarantees. Brandon Aiyuk got 4 years, 120 million, 76 million in total guarantees. But Amon-Ra's deal had 34.6 million fully guaranteed, and Aiyuk has at least 47 million fully guaranteed.
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract has, like you mentioned, a little bit less fully guaranteed, but it also has a little bit of an inflated fourth year to bump it up some and get it over that 30 million. So if Aiyuk's is not doing that, then Aiyuk definitely had the better deal, even though technically it's 1 million less in guaranteed money and the same over 4 years.
Sean says, is Levin serving catered lunch somewhere?
I don't know what that means.
I think it's about your shirt, but I have a golf shirt on.
I was going to say, we both have golf striped shirts on. So
Scott49 says, Rob is right. The Niners just suck at this, but glad it's over. Go Niners. Anybody that says I'm right, I generally agree with. So thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. YouTube channel member.
No wonder we disagree all the time, because you're wrong and you don't agree with me that you're wrong.
I'm just glad it's over. That to me, like, that's the prevailing.
This part is over. We got one more to go.
Well, yeah, but that's what, and I said that before you came on, and I get that, but like, let's just enjoy this for 2 seconds, right?
I know.
For two, like, you ripping up the sign was like cathartic for me.
This was the one that we didn't know what was going to happen. We knew Trent Williams is going to show up at some point.
Sean
we did not know, like this Aiyuk one. I thought yesterday when we did our show last night, based on him not showing up to practice and everything, I thought it was much more likely he was going to end up traded. I thought the Niners were going to be like, all right, you didn't show up to practice. We're done. We're taking that trade.
So I showed you the Adam Schefter tweet. What do you think of this? From Ryan Williams, who's Brandon Aiyuk's agent. He quote tweeted Schefter and said, that's factually inaccurate, but the check still cashes with a wink. See, that's what I said. That's that Schefter put out the team response, and good for Ryan Williams. That's the exact appropriate response. Hey, this isn't true, but so what? The check still cashes. That's the perfect way to say it. So it sucks that the 49ers put that out there to Adam Schefter. But again, certainly it's not our problem. We should just be celebrating today.
This is what I would predict here. Is what Schefter tweeted is technically correct, but he's purposely misleading, because maybe they did have an offer on the table that was 4 years, 120 million with 76 million guaranteed, but it was the guaranteed at signing that was, say, like 30 million, and Aiyuk refused, and the offer changed, but the parameters, the numbers that Schefter included in that tweet did not change. So technically his tweet is correct. It's just purposely misleading in spinning things for the 49ers.
Which I hate. Sean Turner says the fine started yesterday. Didn't take long. There's a difference in career earnings between BA and Trent. Trent laughs at fines. Well, we don't know if the Niners actually fined Brandon Aiyuk. We don't know. They have to institute the fines.
Mandatory fines. That was a change in the CBA a couple of years ago. Once training camp ends, fines become mandatory.
If they fine you, though, right?
No, they have to. They are mandatory fines. That was something that the owners wanted in. They can reimburse like OTAs and things like that. They cannot at this point. Yesterday, the fines started to be mandatory.
I thought it was because before, you're right. It was like you'd rack up these fines and then they would agree and they'd be like, forget about those fines. I thought it was now, if we choose to fine you, we can't then rescind it. But I didn't know that they have to fine you. Like, I thought it was still their choice whether or not to actually impose the fines. Because why wouldn't Kyle and John have said, well, of course we have to fine him, it's mandatory, when they were asked about it yesterday?
So technically what you're saying is correct, because they can have him be an excused absence. But they said yesterday, matter of factly, he is healthy. We expect him at practice.
Right.
So that's not what the Niners do. And they can say, he's still a little banged up. Oh, we're playing it safe with him. He's not fully healthy, to not be forced to fine him. But they flat out said they expect him at practice yesterday and that he's fully healthy and he is cleared. So that in this case, they are telling the NFL he was fully healthy. This is unexcused. And at that point, they must fine him. They cannot reimburse those fines. It used to be like you said, they could say, oh, here's all you have all these fines. We're fining you every day. And then the moment you sign, they say, oh, we waive all those fines.
Yeah.
They can't do that. They can do that for OTAs. They can allow you to miss OTAs and not fine you.
Regardless of whether he's fined, regardless of whether he's not fined, whatever the case may be,
he's Niner.
Certainly got the money to pay the fines if that, ended up being the case. And I can't help but be reminded of something that was said a long time ago. It was actually said in early June, and it was said by TJ Hushmanzada, who was Brandon Aiyuk's personal wide receiver coach. He went on 95.7 The Game, and remember, he said this.
If they want to get BA signed, give him the Amon-Ra deal. Give it to him. Okay. And guarantee he'll be in there tomorrow.
And what deal did he get, Levin?
The Amon-Ra deal, except for, it was $1 million less in total guarantees, which, if you don't know, the total guarantees usually don't come into play. It's the guarantee that's signing that could come into play.
Right.
And Aiyuk has significantly more than Amon-Ra got.
Our long national nightmare is over.
Do you think Kyle will now say, oh, yeah, he'll definitely be fully ready in week 1? After yesterday saying, he's going to have a hard time being ready for week 1 if he misses practice today.
I don't know if there are still some hurt feelings. Wouldn't it be hilarious if Kyle was like, he's not ready. We're not activating him for week 1. After all of that.
He has him as the punt and kick returner.
Oh, God. Grant Shepard says, why did BA wait so long? It's gone midnight here in the UK. Hey, you know what? Celebrate. See, I know what that's like, though, when you get breaking news like that late at night. And then you're about to go to sleep, but then you can't go to sleep because you're all hopped up on the breaking news.
You know what might be the best part of this for you?
What's
that? Hadn't done 49ers in 5 yet.
That's true. I got to tell you, honestly, I was literally thinking as I was putting my daughter to sleep, what the hell am I going to put in 49ers in 5? Because I listened to Nick Sorensen's press conference today, and it was a nothing burger.
Did you see Marco Martinez's tweet? I know we both kind of responded to some of his stuff yesterday about when he was saying that they definitely will not franchise him next year. Mm-hmm. That's not, we were both kind of pushing back on him on that. He tweeted maybe an hour ago, 2 hours ago, saying the 49er fans, you can enjoy your 3-day weekend. Aiyuk will be back. The Niners have their number 1 wide receiver. So that to you tells you he 100% does have a source that knew that contract had happened.
Marco knows people. No joke. Marco, he doesn't always tweet everything, but the idea that you have to be an NFL insider and that you're the only person that has sources is wrong. It's just flat out wrong.
When he says Marco, there is a source that answers Polo. You like that?
No, that's terrible.
You laughed.
It's a dad joke, man. Jeez. And KMBR has a nice, a good tweet. I'm trying to scan for good ones. He's got the old Andrew Filipponi tweet, who of course is on the radio in Pittsburgh, that said the Steelers have a verbal agreement in place with the Niners for Aiyuk. The wide receiver is coming to Pittsburgh, and KMBR quote tweeted it and said, is there an egg on face emoji? Although I will say this, I literally heard Adam Schefter today with Pat McAfee. He said in August, he thought a deal was done where he was going to Cleveland. He said he thought every possible outcome of this situation at one point was happening. So I don't want to totally slam Andrew or anybody else who may have been wrong on this, because it sounds like it took some freaking twists and turns, man.
So 2 things. One, that's kind of funny because Andrew Filipponi works for the radio station in Pittsburgh that is the partner of 95.7 The Game. They're the same company, same parent. So it's kind of funny there. That's what he does. He's a radio guy here in Pittsburgh. The second part, though, is if you want to do egg on the face, how about you pull up Lombardi's tweets from today, where he was actually going back and forth with Brad Graham, of all people.
Really?
Where Brad Graham was talking about, maybe if they offered him more money at market rate, if they just offered him a market rate contract super early in the offseason, he would have signed and that contract would be looking great. And, of course, Lombardi was saying, no, that wouldn't happen. They did offer him a contract and he didn't sign it. It takes 2 to tango was his response. And Brad followed. at market rate. Yes, they offered a contract. Did they offer him one at market rate?
Right. And oh yeah, now I'm seeing the exchange back and forth.
It was the typical Lombardi kind of like, the team does no wrong. I am so right. You are so dumb. Yeah.
I saw, oh shoot, I just lost the comment. I saw somebody, I think it was Sean Turner, said Brandon Aiyuk saw that Russell Wilson was named the starter in Pittsburgh, was like, all right, forget it. Go back to San Francisco.
You might not be wrong about that. I don't know his relationship with Fields, but they were both in college at the same time. So I'd imagine there is some kind of like knowledge of each other from that. Whereas, Russell Wilson's a dinosaur to him. Russell Wilson became a thing when Brandon Aiyuk was like just becoming a teenager.
Sean Turner says Michelle is 3 mimosas deep already. That may be true, but to be fair, Sean, she'd be 3 mimosas deep already, regardless of the Aiyuk news. So,
but is she 3 mimosas deep because she's celebrating, or because she's sad that the Steelers didn't get them?
Don't really care. Ahmet says, does this mean Trent is gone? Now, we've seen that. What did we say about an Aiyuk extension, right? An Aiyuk extension lowers his cap number. Yeah. Well, we're hearing that this is a front-loaded extension. So does that change things? How does that impact the Trent Williams contract? I don't know. That's a fair question by Ahmet.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see. The funny thing is if it's front-loaded, can everybody stop saying, how can they afford all these players? Because it's clear, that, they can afford Aiyuk, Trent, and Purdy next offseason.
Yeah, I want to see the structure of this thing. As I said earlier, the devil is in the details, because it will affect all the other contracts that they have to do. But it's interesting because the 49ers don't usually do deals like this, right? Wasn't that the whole thing with Buckner, was that he wanted a front-loaded deal and the Niners didn't want to do it? And that was part of the reason he's not there anymore. So that in and itself would be a capitulation by the 49ers.
But it could be super front-loaded through the signing bonus. So let's say that $47 million that's fully guaranteed at signing is his signing bonus, that they're giving him all of that as a signing bonus. Well, that's a ton of money to him right away, but split between 4 years of the contract, you're not even at $12 million per year. So if he has a salary of like $2 to $3 million this year, that means his cap hit stays virtually the same as what it was going to be on the 5th-year option.
Right.
Yet it's incredibly front-loaded for him, and yet the Niners are able to spread out the cap hit and not destroy their budget.
Grant says, if only there was someone good at spreadsheets to answer these cap questions. No one can answer them until we get the details of the contract. It's not like David Lombardi has some secret knowledge that none of us have. We need to know the actual details of the deal beyond what's been reported. It's like, God, man. All these friggin' Lombardi stands, I swear to God, I don't know where they come from, but like, go watch him. What are you doing on this stream then? Go watch him. Like, God, that's unbelievable. The guy lies to you. He flat out lies to you about many of the things the 49ers do just to try and spin it positive for the team. And he's adored. I do not understand it. And you may disagree with a lot of the stuff that we say to you on this show, but we never lie to you. We may be incorrect, but we never lie to you. He lies to you and he knows it.
Here's the thing. If you are extreme, whether positive, negative, whether politics, right, left, if you're on the extreme, you will attract an incredibly loyal base. That doesn't mean you're actually super popular, but it will feel that way because you have a very vocal and very loyal fans that are going to make it seem, because they're constantly there commenting on your things and supporting you. He is on the extreme of positive. So he attracts extremely loyal fans that I think inflate how popular he really is, because he doesn't, when you see like people talk about their favorite beat reporters, he's almost never mentioned.
Except by the stands, but you're right. We got a little more breaking news, Levin. Pretty Ricky calling it a career. He had been on the Brandon Aiyuk train to the Steelers forever. He staked his reputation on it. He tweeted, "I'm sorry, Steeler fans, time for Ricky to hit the Rainbow Bridge. See you on the other side." And he has a picture. I can't even see everybody in the picture. It's all people that have died. He's got Elvis in the picture. He's got Burt Reynolds, I see in the picture. Michael Jackson is in there. Harambe. Harambe is in there.
I guess it is a bunch of people that did. I thought I saw Morgan Freeman in there.
Oh, God, I hope not. No,
but it's really small for us to see. You're seeing it on your full computer. For us, it's pretty small. But I thought I saw Morgan Freeman, and so I did not think it was a bunch of people that died. But that definitely is looking at it closer.
So sorry, Pretty Ricky. Look, I don't know somebody that wasn't wrong on this at one point. I feel like everybody that claimed to have a source or something was at some point wrong because of all the twists and turns that this thing took.
Like I said, I do think they absolutely did have a deal agreed to with Pittsburgh, and that was probably misinterpreted by, hey, we've agreed in principle to a trade with the 49ers, but it was lost in translation that, well, they're not going to execute it yet. They want to try to negotiate with Aiyuk longer. And the people that had sources within that front office got told, well, we've agreed to a trade in principle with the 49ers. And that's why it became, a trade's been agreed to.
We've got more of the 49ers getting their spin out there, at least a little bit. Diana Rossini of The Athletic tweeted, this was not a new deal for Aiyuk. Nothing changed the last few weeks in terms of numbers. Let's hope the ramp-up period goes well. In the end, this was all a massive waste of 3 months. It's obvious there was no plan here from either side. Lots of NFL executives around the league have shared over this time that if you vacillate that much, you really don't know what you want. So that's at least a little, that second tweet kind of was less 49er centric.
She's trying to say nothing had changed since May. You're telling me this offer was
No, she said a few weeks.
She said in the end, this was all a massive waste of 3 months.
That's true.
Like, I'm pretty sure if Aiyuk got $3 million per year more, he wouldn't say it's a massive waste of 3 months.
Right. I would spend 3 months trying to get $3 million. I'll say that.
I would spend, I will be spending 30 years trying to earn that much money.
Well, and don't forget too, like these insiders that are tweeting this stuff now, it's all favors, right? There's all an agenda there. It's hey, tweet this part out, get my part of it out here so that, in the future we could be cool. Like we'll remember that. And there's all part of it there.
Like you said, they all were wrong at some point. So it's all also trying to save face. Hey, look, it's not our fault we were wrong. Nothing has changed.
Right, exactly.
The only thing that changed is he's willing to sign it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wasn't wrong. I was early.
Yeah.
Andrew Brandt tweeted, so both Lamb and Aiyuk, hold out and hold in, are able to 1, avoid training camp without consequence, 2, get top of the market contracts at a position where contracts have exploded. In a business almost always tilted to management, interesting to see these two-player quote-unquote wins.
Well, to me, things have changed in recent seasons, like probably the last 5 years, maybe as far back as 10. And it's because the salary cap explodes. Every year, the salary cap goes up a ton. And so what that means is the market's going to change drastically for whatever positions are coming up that year. And the teams are reluctant to allow the market to change. But the reality is they can afford it because the salary cap went up a large amount. And so in the end, the players get the money because they know what the salary cap is and what the team can afford. And eventually the team has to pay them because they need the player.
And just logically too, like Tim Kawakami says, oh, this looks very similar to the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal. Like if this deal was out there would be no reason for Aiyuk not to take it. That's why I don't think that nothing changed on the contract. I don't buy that at all. Something changed. Now, maybe it was a small thing in the team's eyes, whatever, but so what? So I think something changed, and I don't care. Like I said, it's done. Aiyuk's agent tweeted out or put on Instagram a little message, says, man, there may never be another one quite like this. It is the weirdest contract situation I can remember.
Think about it from what his agent has been dealing with. Think about the amount of hours his agent has put in. Negotiated with the Patriots, negotiated with the Browns, negotiated with the Steelers, had trades that the Niners were willing to do with all three teams.
Right, yeah.
But then also had to be negotiating with the 49ers.
It's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're right. I'm sure he was probably up. There's a reason they get the, 3% or 5% or whatever the hell it is. He definitely earned it on this one.
Yeah, depends on the agent, but I think 3% is what it has become.
But yeah, I think there's like a cap. You can take less, but I think there's a cap on the most that any agent can take just by rule. So you've got Justin Jefferson. Actually, yeah, I don't want to put that up because I don't want them to take it down because it's from the Insider Show on NFL Network. But you've got Justin Jefferson, $35 million a year, CeeDee Lamb, 34, AJ Brown, 32, Amon-Ra, 30, Aiyuk, 30. So he's basically tied for like third.
Technically, Amon-Ra got 30.0025.
And it's funny you say that, but like that matters to people, and it matters to the agents too, because the agent could say, "I'm number one," right? Like it's
the last 3 months, Aiyuk has been holding out for that extra $250,000 on a 4-year deal.
It's a literal scoreboard for them, frankly, and so that's why that little stuff like that does matter. Thank you. Just thank you. I don't care. Like ultimately, we're talking about, when did he accept the deal? When was it on the table? Whatever, man. He's there.
In like 10 days, we won't be worrying about when he accepted the deal anymore. Because the moment games start, we're gonna, just like the Nick Bosa thing. Did we mention it every so often that, oh yeah, he didn't really get training camp? Yeah. But that's about it. Like it was not like a constant. It wasn't every single time Nick Bosa had a game where he didn't get a sack. We were going, oh, this is because he held out.
Mm-hmm.
No, as soon as the season started, it became about the games because the player is here. Now, if he had gotten traded, Aiyuk would have been a topic of conversation probably all season long every time they lost.
Brisbee Life on Twitch says, so let's all thank Levin graciously for going his Sunday ticket lawsuit payout so Aiyuk could get paid.
I just tricked them. I know they're going to win the appeal and I'll get my money in the end.
So, I mean, if you had to pick a side here, who won the deal? Did Aiyuk win or did the 49ers win?
Aiyuk, obviously.
Right. I think so too. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, his wide receiver coach said,
if they want to get BA signed, give him the Amon-Ra deal. Give it to him.
And that's what they gave him. And what did the 49ers accomplish by doing this? They potentially made Aiyuk less good, right? Because who knows if he's going to be in football shape and when. They still paid him. We just did the rankings. He's up there, what, top 5, top 3 money. Like, what did the 49ers gain from this?
So that quote that you played from Hushmanzada is from about, I think, 2 weeks ago.
It's from early June.
That's from early June?
Yes, it's from June.
How is time flying like this?
Amon-Ra signed on April 24th. So
no. I'm talking about Hushmanzada when he said that.
Yeah, that's June.
Jeez.
June 7th, 2024. I put it in my computer at 8:56 a.m.
Man, I would have sworn that was 2 weeks ago.
It's been a long training camp.
It's been a long off season where nothing happened until now.
Now, the Trent thing, we got to see. There's a lot of people saying there's no way they could get Trent now. That's what this means. There's no way they can get Trent. I think if the Niners had to choose between Trent and BA, they would choose Trent, frankly.
I mean, there is a small possibility. I seriously doubt it. But there is a small possibility that Trent had told them today, I'm retiring. And they said, okay, well, now we can give Aiyuk $2 more million and get him signed.
I know that was your tinfoil on the hat theory yesterday.
I'm just saying, like, is that something that is logically possible? Yes. Do I think that's what it is? No, I think there's an extremely low chance that that's actually what happened, but it would make sense if Trent Williams says, I'm retiring. And so the Niners know that they just had 30 million come off the books and they said, well, we're not going to lose Aiyuk too. We're going to give him the 2 million that he's asking for.
Let's spin this forward now, because at some point, Brandon Aiyuk is going to speak, whether they give him a regular press conference or whether they just find him in the locker room after practice. But certainly he's going to have to talk to the media. What do you think? What do you think he's going to say? Because they're going to ask, like, what happened? Because the 49ers have fed to Schefter and these insiders that, oh, this deal's been on the table for weeks. They're going to ask Brandon Aiyuk, was this deal on the table for 3
Are
weeks?
you sure they will?
Somebody friggin' should.
You know what I mean? Like, if that they know that's a lie, do you really think the beat reporters are going to ask that and put Aiyuk in the situation where he has to say the team lied?
But that's what I mean. That's what you do.
I know that's what they're supposed to do, but we have seen it before. I'm not convinced they will ask that. I certainly hope they do. What do I think Aiyuk will say? A whole bunch of nothing, because he's not somebody that ever really says anything. He's not a talkative player. He is, unlike most star wide receivers, he doesn't like the microphone in front of him. He doesn't like the cameras on him. You know what I mean? He's not that type of wide receiver. He'll say, I'm glad it's over. I think I'm glad to be here. I want to win a Super Bowl now.
Jordan Schultz tweeted out, interesting note from a 49ers executive just now on Aiyuk. Quote, we believe his best football is ahead of him. He's only 26. He's still learning the intricacies of the position. This is an ascending player. There's no reason why he can't have a similar career as Davante Adams, for example. Then what took so long? Then you should have offered him this deal months ago. If that's what you truly believe. See, this is like, there's so much fluff and BS that's coming out after this. If you think he's Davante Adams, you don't dick around, frankly, in February and not get this deal done. You lock him down as soon as possible because you know the market's going to explode. That's why you got to take all this stuff that's coming out now with a grain of salt.
Right. Like, people could say, oh, make him repeat it, which I haven't seen that all that much anymore. That was early in the offseason. People were saying, make him play his 5th year and make him repeat having a great season and then sign him. Okay, well, next year, it will probably be 32 to 34 million that they have to pay him, because once again, the salary cap will go up. So the market goes up with it.
I don't like this fluff. You know me. We like to cut through the bull here on this show, and there's a lot of it coming out right now. That would be my first question, Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon, is this deal you signed the same deal as the one that was on the table in early August, in August 10th? They even put out the actual friggin' date. Like, I would want to know that. Now, if Aiyuk is smart, I think he says, I don't know all the details. I leave it up to my agent, but I trusted my agent. And he got me through this, and I'm just grateful that it's over. That's what he should say if he wants to just squash this and move on. Maybe we'll find out if he does or not.
That's true. I mean, you answer it that way, it ends all follow-up questions about it too, because the answer is, I don't know.
He can
ask my agent.
Yeah, he can repeat that over and over again.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And if I'm not mistaken, Debo did that. Yeah,
he kind of did. He never said why you requested a trade. And he was asked multiple times and he just never answered it. Because this is why teams should hire me for media consulting. I swear to God, I know exactly how to do it. If you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to answer a question. But it's still on the people asking to ask it and ask it multiple times. But nobody can force you to answer a question. So we'll see how Aiyuk wants to handle this. Richard Sherman talked about how dealing with the 49ers with contract extensions is like wearing braces. It sucks at the time, and then you get them off and you forget you ever had them on. We'll see if that's the case here. Is it, all's good, kumbaya, or are there still some hurt feelings? And maybe the way Brandon Aiyuk answers some of these questions, or the way the 49ers answer them, because Shanahan and Lynch will get asked them too, that might tell us a little something.
I would love it if Brandon Aiyuk makes a doghouse reference. Hey, Brandon, how's it feel to have your new contract? Well, it's great to be out of the doghouse again.
That would be hilarious.
I don't think he's not going to say pretty much anything. It's going to be like 1-2 word answers. And his agent has already said quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Do you want to give any credit to Brandon Aiyuk for taking less money to stay with the 49ers? Because reportedly he had a bigger deal on the table from the Patriots and a bigger deal on the table from the Browns.
I would say no, because the 32 million from the Patriots that was reported, it was also reported that it was a kind of fake 32 million because it was massively backloaded. So I don't think he really took a team discount. I mean, this is right at market value. Like you said, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown contract. Almost identical.
I don't know if I should give him credit for that yet, to be honest. I'm still deciding.
Nah, it's not a team discount.
By the way, I don't know if I talked with you about this, but we played the Steve Young sound on the radio. Apparently, he called back into KNBR the next day.
I saw that.
I haven't heard that yet. I do want to hear what he said. Not that it really matters now, because obviously the Trent thing is still out there, so we'll see. But yeah,
and now all attention focuses on Trent.
Right.
That's going to become a big story all of a sudden.
Totally different, different handling completely, right? Trent just didn't show up. He hasn't been putting anything on social media. He hasn't been making any noise whatsoever. He has just let his feet do the talking. He has not showed up, and he's just waiting, essentially. So we'll see.
There is a huge difference with Trent Williams. And this was put out on Twitter by, it was Barrows, maybe Mayoko recently. So Trent Williams is opposite. Aiyuk held in, but claimed to have an injury. And the Niners went along with that up until yesterday. So yesterday was the first day Aiyuk got fined. Trent Williams has held out, has not shown up. So since the start of training camp, he's been getting mandatory fines. And somebody added it up, like I said, one of the beat reporters, it was like $4.6 million he has lost at this point of mandatory fines.
I feel like they'd find a way to work around that. I could be wrong, but or maybe
they literally the NFL. What team? It might have been the Raiders. There was a team that under the table paid the fine back, and they fined that team and punished them for doing it.
I mean, maybe the owner does that and then is willing to pay the. Who knows? Who knows? It's not my problem. I don't care. Chris Waddell, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, now please get Trent done, and can we go back to feeling good? Side note, amongst all your shoes in the house talk, do you put both socks on first and then shoes, or one sock and one shoe at a time? Basically crazy or not? I put both socks on and then put shoes on.
I've never heard of somebody doing one sock, one shoe, and then second sock, second shoe.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we could all settle on that. You handle your business with the socks, and then you handle your business with the shoes. Let's
take this next step. How often do you take off your socks? When are you ever barefoot?
Shower and sleep.
Yeah, see, my socks never come off except for shower, and right when I get out of the shower, socks go back on.
Yeah, I put my socks on first.
I sleep with socks on. I will not have socks off. The only time I have socks off is in the dead of summer. I wear flip-flops quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you got flip-flops, that's a little different. But I rarely, only if I'm like going to go swimming or go to a water park or something.
I do not take socks off unless I'm wearing flip-flops or I'm getting in the shower. It's literally when I bring my clothes to the bathroom to go shower, there is a pair of socks with it.
So I don't know. Did you see the Game of Thrones thing that I made late last night about the season? I took a scene from Game of Thrones and I kind of 49ers eyes it.
Was this your personal Twitter or?
It was my
I don't care about your personal Twitter. I look at the gold standard, not yours.
Well, it was hilarious. And now people are trying to dunk on me like, oh, the deal got done. What now? It's like, we were in a standoff for 3 months here. And I was proud of the work, damn it. Took me a little while to put together.
It's kind of like the killing of the Night King. All this build up and then just over like that. And it's not even the person that you thought would kill him.
So let's say that Trent Williams gets done over the weekend. Then, like, how are the vibes with this team? You know, everyone's saying the cracks are showing in the foundation. The vibes are off. If Trent gets done with a week to go before the season starts, well, how are the vibes then? I feel like the vibes are great. Like, we're back, right?
Bang, bang. That's what the vibes are. Yeah, it's full steam ahead. That's what the vibes are.
I said before you jumped in, that sound you hear is every other team in the NFC saying, oh, no. Oh, crap. They got their stuff together. You know, it's still going to go through San Francisco.
The sound you hear is Aaron Rodgers saying, dang it. I'm not going to beat them. I'm going to lose again in San Francisco.
It'd be interesting what kind of showing he has. What if Aiyuk absolutely goes crazy in week 1? See, you know what? You want to fix this? You want to get rid of any bad feelings? Kyle Shanahan needs to draw up a game plan where Aiyuk gets like 15 touches in week 1, right?
Aiyuk's not going to get 15 touches because Aiyuk will have Sauce Gardner on him. So
Maybe.
It's going to be a Debo game.
But like you could still throw screens. You could do some pick plays to try and get him free. And also, like, if Aiyuk is the guy that he thinks he is, you got to be able to have good games. Maybe not 15 touches, but you got to be able to have good games and produce against the best corners. If you're going to be that guy, and the Niners are now paying him like that guy, and he certainly thinks he is that guy. Well, now we got to see it. The expectation for you goes up now that you have this new contract. A simple 1,000-yard season is not good enough now. It's not. Just like it's not been good enough for Debo. You got to produce 1,100, 1,200 yards now.
Assuming a similar amount of opportunity, yes. You know, if teams adjust and say, well, we're going to have safety help over the top and the best corner on Aiyuk at all times, and we're going to take him away, and thus he only has 90 or 100 targets this season. His targets actually go down because they have to go to Kittle more or Debo more because the defense decides we're not going to let Aiyuk do anything. Then I can understand him having a little bit less statistically. But as long as he is played honestly, absolutely, he's got to put up 1,200 yards at minimum.
What would you call a successful season from Aiyuk?
I would say if the Niners win a lot and he has similar targets, 1,100 yards, I would say, okay, I'm satisfied enough.
How many touchdowns?
See, I don't really care about the touchdown aspect of it because in my opinion, receiving touchdowns are all about opportunity. And Kyle Shanahan does not say we're in the red zone, we're getting this guy open for a touchdown. You know, like the Patriots, when they got in the red zone, it was, we're going to get Gronk open. We're going to do everything we can to have him get open because he's too big of a target in the end zone. He's never done that. That's why Kittle doesn't ever have a ton of touchdowns. Debo doesn't have a ton of touchdowns. Aiyuk doesn't have a ton of touchdowns. He does not force feed somebody the ball in the red zone. So it is the touchdowns get spread out.
Unless he wears number 23. Because Christian McCaffrey got more red zone touches than Debo, Kittle.
But that was running.
Combined.
That was running, though. Yes, he had some receiving, but a lot of his touchdowns were running because Shanahan correctly sees it as running's the easy one. So as long as we can run it, I'm not even going to risk a pass.
Right, but he's still, I mean, he forces it to somebody in the red zone. He just happens to wear number 23 instead of number 11.
Right. I'm saying in the passing game, he's not going to force feed anybody. And so all of the passing touchdowns get spread out. Purdy literally had, 30-plus touchdowns last year?
31.
And nobody had 10-plus. That's a pretty rare thing, actually, in the NFL. Usually, if your quarterback had 30-plus touchdowns, his number one wide receiver had 10 or more.
Sean Turner says 100 catches, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. That would be incredible. I mean, sign me up for that right now.
That's never going to happen unless Debo misses 15 games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just not enough opportunity in this offense.
Or McCaffrey gets hurt.
And even then, he's going to run the ball with Jordan Mason. It'll just be a different thing because in terms of the passing.
He's going to want to run the ball with Jordan Mason, but if Mason's not as successful as McCaffrey and they're in longer down and distance situations, he may be forced to throw it more.
Yeah, see, I think Jordan Mason is close or every bit as good of a runner as McCaffrey. It's the passing game that McCaffrey completely blows him out of the line. McCaffrey is a really good runner. He is not otherworldly. If it wasn't for the receiving, he would not be a Hall of Fame running back. He's a very good runner. He is not the class of runner that other Hall of Fame running backs were.
Yeah, that's fair. But if you're comparing him to other Hall of Fame running backs, okay. Comparing him to Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason is a great runner. He just lacks on all other aspects of the game, which is very important.
Chris Waddell is back. I'm a sand volleyball player and wear dress shoes all day at work. Shoes and socks are off the moment I have the ability to do it as long as possible. Isn't work volleyball? If you're a sand, well, I guess maybe
No. He's saying he plays sand volleyball, so he loves being barefoot. Is what he's saying.
But it's not his job. He's not like a professional sand volleyball player. Chris Waddell says, Levin socks even during intimacy time with his wife. Shut up. Don't answer that. I don't want to know anything about you or your intimate time. I don't want to know what you're wearing. I don't want to know anything. Do not answer that question, Chris.
The socks are on my feet.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, thanks for ruining the whole friggin' stream. That just ruined it for me.
If I don't have socks on, my feet are very, very cold.
Me too. How many people are going to report the fact that Ryan Williams directly refuted Schefter's tweet about the deal being on the table since August?
Nobody. Except for content creators.
Right. But like that should be, if Schefter's going to, because Schefter's going to go on shows. I know how this works. I've been producing shows when breaking news happens. Everybody on ESPN radio is going to be calling, trying to get Adam Schefter on. And he's going to do he'll do a SportsCenter hit. He'll do a bunch of hits. And he's going to probably say that exact thing that he tweeted out. And anybody interviewing him needs to say, Adam, Aiyuk's agent directly refuted what you said. Quote, that's factually inaccurate, but the check still cashes. I want to see what his response would be to that. Now, he may just poo-poo it, but it should be brought up every single time Schefter's on the air.
I'm completely distracted by the chat is going off the rails.
Yeah, I know. It's disgusting. John Brown says, Skip Bayless tweet complaining about the Niners salary cap just brings me joy. Please pull it up if you can. I make it a rule to not really read anything that Skip Bayless puts out because I think he's just a hot take merchant. Let me see what he said. Okay, here, I'll bring it up. Can't believe we're doing this. He said, quote, please explain how the 49ers have twice the salary cap the Cowboys do because they beat us 42-10. They've paid their defensive end, their running back, now their wide receiver. Soon Big Trent will get a big new deal, and they'll lock up Purdy for 5 years. Yet the world's most valuable team has the littlest cap. Skip, the salary cap is the same for all 32 teams. Dallas doesn't have a smaller cap than the 49ers. They have less cap space than the 49ers. And it might have something to do with the hideous contract that Dak Prescott is currently playing under. Just a thought.
Dak Prescott has the largest salary cap hit of any player this season at 55.1 is his salary cap hit. I just saw that earlier today. But why? How is this possible? Because the Niners actually employ financial people to deal with the contracts. It's not an owner trying to pretend he's great at everything.
I mean, the Cowboys are not a serious franchise. That's how.
Correct. When you have 80-year-old or whatever he is these days, person that's not an expert on this stuff, doing every part of controlling the team and building the team, yeah, no duh, you're not going to be great when it comes to the salary cap.
There's a reason you haven't made a conference championship game since 1995. It's a feature, not a bug. Just like I always say about the Mariners, the only team that never reached a World Series. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because it's designed to happen that way. Jerry cares about being the most valuable team, and he cares about being in prime time and having people talk about the team. That's what he wants first and foremost. If they happen to win a championship after all that, okay. But if he has to choose one, it's very clear which one he chooses.
I will say that this is true for all but one team in professional sports. Yes, it absolutely is an owner thing, unless you're the Minnesota Vikings. Because then it's just horrendous luck. The Minnesota Vikings have the 4th highest franchise winning percentage of any team, and they have not won a Super Bowl. Their owners have generally wanted to do everything they can to possibly win, literally since the Super Bowls were created and they had Fran Tarkenton. They just always have something happen.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm glad that that's an NFC team and it's not the Niners. Jeff Deeney of PFF says Aiyuk was PFF's second highest graded wide receiver last season behind Tyreek Hill and was 3rd among wide receivers in receiving yards per route run behind Hill and Nico Collins. That's just a little nugget to make you feel warm and fuzzy.
But he's not top 10, right, Stink?
Oh, still bitter. All these flavors, and you choose to be salty, Levin.
He might stink, and I am salty. But that is what I am. You called me the resident curmudgeon. So
You are the resident curmudgeon.
I know I am. I'm well aware of this fact and have been for decades at this point in my life.
I call you the human wet blanket for a reason. Nick Wagner says in 2023, 98 quarterback wide receiver combinations had 50 or more targets together. Brock Purdy had a QBR of 95 when targeting Brandon Aiyuk. That ranked second out of the 98 combos. Keeping that duo together, Wagner says, for the long haul was a clear priority. And he's right. And I said, he's part of the next core. Brock, according to the 49ers, at least right now at this moment, you would think is part of the 49ers next core with Aiyuk and Bosa and Warner, I think, is still young enough to be included in that mix. And they got to figure out the other offensive weapons, but they needed to nail this one down because you're still searching for the other ones. If you've found one, you don't want to let that one get away.
The best stat, and I've said it a couple times now on the show because I first discovered it at the end of last year, Brandon Aiyuk had the highest yards per target of any player with 70-plus receptions since Pro Football Reference tracked that stat, which goes back to 1992. The most yards per target of any player since 1992 at minimum. It could be the highest all time. There's no, I'm not Michelle. I don't work in NFL stats and research, so I don't have access to the stats going all the way back. But it's insane. Like his year last year is arguably the most efficient season a wide receiver has had in 30 plus years.
Let's make that 2 in a row, please.
Yeah, and this one ends with a trophy.
Right. Exactly. And Al Sacco tweeted from the 49ers Web Zone podcast, says, from an embarrassing day where things looked as bleak as ever to an extension all in about 24 hours, the 49ers are never, ever boring. And he's right. He's absolutely right. And we still have the Trent Williams situation to hash through. And then, oh, by the way, the season started. It's almost like the 49ers were like, you know what? Let's think of the content creators. We don't want to give them nothing to talk about through this offseason because, you know, Brock is healed up and there's no quarterback controversy. So let's just string this along and we'll have it so that by the time it all gets worked out, bam, the Jets will be playing.
They actually agreed to this deal on Tuesday, but they didn't announce it because they couldn't give me the satisfaction of it seeming like a birthday present to me.
Right.
That's what happened. They held it. It is my fault that we did not know this 2 days ago.
It's usually your fault. Let's be honest. Shout out to the more than 1,500 people that are watching the stream right now. Thank you so much. If this is your first time catching one of our shows, thank you. Please give us a shot. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow wherever you get your audio podcast. You got to follow both because we have exclusive content to both areas. But just give us a shot. I promise you, we will earn your time. We're live every single day. We go live when breaking news happens, as you see. We do a 5-minute news update in the morning that comes out every day that's got clips and highlights from radio interviews and press conferences. I'll put our coverage up against anybody else's 49ers coverage on the planet. Please just give us a chance this year, and I promise you we will not let you down. Levin might, but I won't.
Yeah, I think the people that have been around here know that that's not the truth.
I never let anybody down. What are you talking about? All right, let's do this quickly before we go.
I started the show by saying, you don't call, you don't text.
I was here. Honestly, I was freaking out because I had a source text me. I didn't realize this until after I started the show. I had 1,000 text messages and I looked down and I had a source text me, be near your computer. And it was like 15 minutes before I started the show, but I was charging my phone and I was putting my daughter to bed when the news broke. So I didn't see it.
Who is this source?
Don't worry about that.
I will have to get to the bottom of this.
So when I finally put her down to sleep and I came downstairs, I looked at my phone and it was like Brandon Aiyuk agrees. And I was like, oh my God, how long ago, like, have I missed this? Should I have, like, it's 10 minutes now past when the news broke. So I just ran downstairs and quickly typed up a show description to get live on the air. I actually had the thumbnail made for about 6 weeks now. So that was already done. Thank God.
Yeah, I know. Cause you told me just in case it happened while you were golfing or on vacation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and shout out to Jay who says 49ers in 5 is pure gold. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Somebody says, beware. Grant Cohn also makes an appearance. Yes, he does on Wednesday. We go back and forth. We talked about Grant calling me out the other day on Wednesday's show, so that was fun. But anyway, yes, give us a shot. It was a crazy time. I really appreciate you hopping in, Levin. I didn't even text you or ask you, like you said. You just came in and did it because that's kind of stand-up guy you are. So I
need that super chat money. Let's be honest.
Well, for whatever, you still did it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. You made it a lot easier for me.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to talk to somebody instead of just talking to a computer screen.
Celebrate the rest of the day, people. Crack open a beer.
You know how we're celebrating? Well, your happiness is going to last about half an hour.
Why is that?
Because we got a game to play in half an hour.
Oh, that's right. You and I are going to be live on Twitch playing College Football 25, the college football playoff in our dynasty that we did. Levin's Purdue Boilermakers are facing my Marshall Thundering Herd. That's going to happen at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. We'll be live on the Gold Standard.
Hopefully, I will say my kid's bedtime has been pushed, so I will be trying to finish by 8:30.
All right. Well, I'll let you go to do that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Again, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.